Chelsea Football Club are on an absolute madness this summer. I can't lie. After winning the Club World Cup, maybe you think, okay, Chelsea, let's slow down a bit, celebrate it, let the players go on holiday. But my word, Chelsea Football Club aren't slowing down for anyone. And in today's video, we're going to be going through their transfer targets because there's a lot of exciting players that have been added to Chelsea's list. But before I begin, if you are a Chelsea fan, please hit the subscribe. I'm going to be doing a lot of content on you guys this season. Hit the like as well. It would be greatly, greatly appreciated. But let's start with the biggest news of the lot, and it is with Morgan Rogers. Matt Law, who's a very, very good source for Chelsea news, says, I'm told by people on the outside that if Aston Villa do go for Nicholas Jackson, it will immediately trigger a bid for Morgan Rogers from Chelsea. And we know how much money Chelsea have got already, regardless of winning that Club World Cup. Now, could you imagine, with the Club World Cup money, what Chelsea Football Club could do this summer? Oh, la, 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 la. They've already got Gittins, who I think is a phenomenal left winger who can certainly impact games already for Chelsea. If they add someone like Morgan Rogers, I just can't even want to, I don't even want to fathom the idea of a Chelsea side, which has got probably Gittins still on the left, Morgan Rogers in the 10, Palmer off the right, with Caicedo and Enzo and Lavia within there, and then up front, João Pedro. With Delap off the bench. I mean, my word, Chelsea Football Club, the talent you guys have got, and they've got this thing of sort of recruiting players all within the same age bracket. Morgan Rogers is not old by any stretch of the imagination. I think he's only 22 years old. So he's still going to be able to come into that Chelsea side, culturally fit with the players in and around him because he's young. It simply would be a joke of a signing. And when I'm talking about Morgan Rogers, he's simply one of my favorite sort of profile of players in terms of he's pure excitement. Driving on the ball, carrying the ball. This guy has got so much quality that hasn't sort of been talked about enough, because playing for Aston Villa, we all know his quality, but I just think he'd go even up more levels in a Chelsea side. I genuinely do believe it. And he would have the freedom to roam, which is probably his best role under Maresca. We see how fluid the left wing, the centre forward and right wing are in the Maresca system. They aren't just told to sort of stay in one zone. They can move about if they see it appropriate. You can use your own brain. And you're just thinking about the certain games that Chelsea lost last season against Arsenal away. Someone like Morgan Rogers would be crucial in retaining the ball and carrying it and getting them up the pitch. You think about Anfield as well. Could you imagine relieving the pressure with Morgan Rogers in your side? He would be an unreal signing. And Chelsea, I know as an Arsenal fan, I hope you guys don't do it. I really don't, because I'm just getting scared already thinking about the ways in which you could structure your attack with a Morgan Rogers in it. You know, it genuinely would be, it's quite scary. And a Jackson out, Morgan Rogers in, probably one of the best trades you could do. You know, and this is no slight on Nicholas Jackson, but Morgan Rogers coming in would make a major impact to Chelsea football. Major impact. And be interested to see the figures in and around it. Would it be around the 50 to 60s, or are we talking 90 to 100s? Because I saw a report earlier talking about Chelsea and sort of their willingness to spend a lot of money, but they're not stupid. They're not going to do stupid money. Anyway, enough about Morgan Rogers. Let's get on to the big news again with Chelsea Football Club, and it's regarding Eberechi Eze of Crystal Palace, and my club Arsenal want to sign him. And I would be devastated if Chelsea were managed to get him off us. I would be devastated, because Eberechi Eze is a player I genuinely love. And I do think it would be Rogers or Eze, but you never know with Chelsea. That's why I'm going to hold my horses on saying that. But could you imagine Eberechi Eze at Chelsea? It just doesn't feel right as an Arsenal fan, but my word, is he a phenomenal player in terms of ball strike, in terms of carrying, again, very good profile. You know, he's central. He's such a central player in the sense that all of his best work comes in those middle areas of the pitch, and Chelsea probably want more talent to progress the ball in terms of carrying, probably hence why they're going for a Rogers or going for an Eze. And this report says Chelsea have entered new talks with his agent about a move from Crystal Palace. And I do think Eze will probably leave this summer, and 68 million, which is split basically 20-20-20, would not be bad whatsoever for a player of Eberechi Eze's talent. At 27, he'd be more of the experienced guys to come in. I feel like you've got to get that blend correct between having those experienced players, but also having those younger players. Eze as well can obviously blend into the culture at Chelsea. He genuinely can. And you've got to think about the 50 million that came in for Madueke, the 23 for Petrovic. Chelsea can do it. Chelsea can get an Eberechi Eze. They can get a Morgan Rogers on top. I think Eze is more of a guy who's going to pull a rabbit out of the hat in terms of shots. You know, this guy loves to take a shot, loves high shot volume, critical against those mid blocks, those aggressive mid blocks. And Eze will probably fix 90% of your issues there. You know, where Palmer is probably the only guy that was really penetrative against those mid blocks. Someone like Eze will increase the attacking threat of Chelsea. Same with Morgan Rogers. So it's a win-win situation for Chelsea Football Club in terms of a Rogers and Eze profile against those mid blocks. It helped in a way which is really sort of making you as an opponent, a rival fan, think, okay, my word, Chelsea mean business. They can get themselves two players who can fix one of their biggest issues, breaking down those mid blocks. And you're thinking about the guys behind them in the midfield. I think defensive side, Lavia, Caicedo and Enzo is more than good enough. So you're almost now looking at Chelsea. If they get an Eze and a Rogers or one or the other, that attack is stacked and pretty much complete. I genuinely don't think there's anything more Chelsea can do for the next 4 or 5 years, because these guys will grow together. You've got Esteval coming in, you've got Kenza coming on off the right as well. There is enough in there for Chelsea for the next years to not worry about the attacking sort of situations and players. It genuinely is. But that leads us very nicely onto the next guy, Jorel Hato. Chelsea are currently ahead of Arsenal and Liverpool in the race to sign Jorel Hato from Ajax. And Arsenal, again, were a side which wanted to sign Jorel Hato, but obviously I think we've gone ahead with Mosquera, who's obviously a phenomenal player. But my word, Jorel Hato is misunderstood in terms of the profile he is. I've talked about him before being a Nuno Mendes light. When he carries the ball, he genuinely looks scary. Not many guys can get the ball off of someone like Jorel Hato when he's carrying. He's powerful. I think he's probably going to be seen more at left back more than at centre back. I think he's profiled better as a left back. You know, there was also talk about Nico O'Reilly, which is another City player who Chelsea obviously love to get their players from. You know, City's academy with Joe Shields, I think it is. But Hato is a phenomenal talent. I think 60 million is a bit much for him. If you can get him for around 40 million, then you're laughing all the way to the bank. And yeah, he's one of my more favoured left-back profiles in terms of his crossing is quite underrated. You know, when he goes on the overlap, his delivery is very consistent. He's a goal threat as well. It's these things which we don't look at enough when we're looking at a player like Jorel Hato. You may think, oh, he's going to be inverting, all of this. Guy can invert, but he can also go on the overlap and have the engine and the energy that Chelsea Football Club need going forward. So for me, if Chelsea can get themselves an Eze, a Rogers and a Hato and probably one more big defender at the back, like, I don't know, a Bastone, I don't know, maybe more right-footed player in there, Araujo, I know that seems far-fetched, then they're a more complete team than many on the planet. It's as simple as that. But my word, anyway, that's it for now. Hope you've enjoyed, and until next time, peace.